Okay, very quick before I begin. This is not a political channel, but this isn't politics. This is just common sense. Black lives matter. Trans women are real women. Trans men are real men. Non-binary people are valid. And if you disagree with that, you can click away now. Hello there, I'm Simon. Welcome to my channel. Today's topic is a crossover. Today I will try to prove how Percy Jackson and the Wizarding World are one and the same. Now, I am aware that these were created and written by two completely different authors, and so they were definitely not meant to be connected. But I don't care. I want them to be connected, so I'm gonna find out if they could be. And I'm not the only one, by the way. For example, I've seen several posts about what would happen if Percy and Harry were to meet. I myself have been saying for a while that it is my headcanon that all witches and wizards in the Wizarding World are descendants of Hecate. But these are just jokes. There's no way this could be true, right? Right? Well, about that, I think it could be. As far as anything can be true in fictional worlds. Let's have a look, shall we? So, the Percy Jackson series states that the Greek gods are all real, and so are the Roman gods, and the Egyptian gods, and the Norse gods, and probably every other god ever, which is a whole video in itself. The point is that they have kids, demigods, to do their dirty work, and who have monsters trying to kill them all the time. And there's this mist draped all over the world, which hides all of this to the mortals. Harry Potter, on the other hand, states that magic is real, and there's an entire wizarding world populated with real witches and wizards, hiding from the muggles. How can this both be true? Well, magic in the Riordan-verse, I'm calling it that, is definitely not unheard of. Far from it, in fact. Remember in the Heroes of Olympus series, when we meet the actual goddess of magic, Hecate, and we even get to see, to some extent, how the magic works. Here's the thing, Hecate's magic doesn't really work the way Hogwarts teaches it, like, at all. Hecate's magic, the way I understand it, works by manipulating the mist to make it look like things are happening, and to create illusions, rather than actually making things happen. Thing is that the magic they do in the Wizarding World is completely different. They use spells and wands to make real magic happen. So that's a contradiction. So they can't be sharing a universe? Not necessarily. Because there is another type of magic in the Riordan-verse. One that is a lot more like the Harry Potter kind of magic. See, apart from the Percy Jackson series, Riordan also wrote a couple of other series, including one about the Egyptian mythology. See, apart from the Percy Jackson series, Riordan also wrote a couple of other series, including one about the Egyptian mythology. It's called the Hecate Chronicles, and it is all about magicians. These magicians use the power of words and wands to make magical stuff happen. Sounds familiar? It should. Because that's exactly what they do at Hogwarts, sort of. Okay, it's not quite the same, but not a fear. There is a solution. The Hecate Chronicles have shown us that in this universe, words can have powers and magical effects. But why would that only be so in ancient Egyptian? Remember that in about 330 BCE, Egypt was conquered by a guy called Alexander the Great, and he made it Greek. After him came the Romans, and thus an amalgamated culture of traditional Egyptian, Greek, and Roman was created. It seems to me that the same would happen to the magical subculture. I mean, it would explain why so many of the spells are pretty much just Latin words. Lumos comes from lumen and lux, which means light. Expecto Patronum can literally be translated to I expect a guardian. Imperio means I command, etc. that's not a spell. That just means that there are plenty more examples. So, if the Egyptian magical culture evolved into a Greek and Roman one, why does a Per Ankh still exist? That's like asking if humans evolved from monkeys, why are there still monkeys? Basically, it seems that while some magicians embraced the new culture and adapted their magic to it, others were just more traditional and kept following the traditional Egyptian way of doing magic. And that is the Per Ankh we know today. Back to those other magicians though. Those who embraced the cultures of their conquerors and created the Greco-Roman style of magic. Believe it or not, but this actually fits with the history of Hecate, because guess what? Hecate existed long before the Hellenistic era. The first reference to her dates back to the Theogony, which was written in the 8th century BCE. But she wasn't actually the goddess of magic yet. So I think that when the Olympians realized they now had this whole magical culture to deal with, they decided they needed a god of that stuff, and so they gave the job to Hecate. And I believe she also explains the magic gene thing, because we know from the Kane Chronicles that while people from certain lineages have more magical potential, everyone has the potential to become a magician through learning and practice. But that contradicts the very existence of muggles. So, whole theory busted? Everything I just said out of the window? No. One possible explanation could be that it's just a lot of inbreeding within the Greco-Roman magic culture to strengthen and breed that magical potential. And we know that purebloods in the wizarding world are not opposed to inbreeding within a small group. I think there was another factor, and that factor is called Hecate. I think the magic gene is in fact the Hecate gene. It is a legacy of the goddess of magic that gives her descendants their magical prowess, or at least their talent in it. I've said it before, I'll say it again. The entire wizarding world is descended from Hecate. Sort of. When I say the entire wizarding world, I mean the entire wizarding world that descends from this Greco-Roman culture, meaning the European and Anglo-Saxon world. So the Asian, Native American, and I'm probably forgetting some magical cultures, are all descended from magic systems that are completely different. And that lines up with what we know of, for example, the Native American way of doing magic, where they didn't use a wand. So how does that explain muggles exactly? I mean, even if those magical folks are powerful in magic, it doesn't negate the fact that in the real universe, even normal people can learn magic. So how come muggles are even a thing? Or squibs for that matter? Well, I believe that they can in fact use magic. The thing is that muggles don't have the studies or the innate talent that wizards do, making it not only unlikely for them to ever actually learn magic, but also just much harder to reach any level of success. That explains muggles. But what about squibs? Well, remember those darn Punnett squares you learned about in biology? It seems that the Hecate gene is a dominant one, but even then, there's still gonna be a chance, slim though it may be, that there will, in a family with this gene, be a child without the gene. But even if those kids lack the innate talent for magic, they still have the ability to do it. The thing is that squibs do often try to learn magic. So why can't they? I think the answer lies in psychology. If you have every reason to assume that you can't do magic, and you try to learn magic anyway, and then you see that you fail because you lack the innate talent for it, making it very difficult for you to get success, you'll see it as evidence that you can't indeed do magic. And you'll give up. Did you follow all that? Long story short, I think that squibs are just at so much of a disadvantage that it seems impossible and so they stop trying. A big question that remains is why there is this dichotomy between the Greek Hecate's magic and the magic of the Egyptian Per Ankh. See, I'm not sure there actually is. Admittedly, mist manipulation is all we see Hazel do. But why would that mean that's all there is? Remember that Hazel had little time to figure it out. And she didn't even have a teacher. I'm guessing that with more time and resources to learn, she could have learned some actual magic. What does this have to do with the wizarding world of Harry Potter? Well, it shows that mist manipulation might just be part of a bigger magic system. And have you noticed that some of the magic used in Harry Potter is actually very similar to these mist-induced illusions? Like the way Hogwarts is hidden, the protective spells the Golden Trio uses to hide their tent, the statue of the Potters at Godric's Hollow, and more. Sounds a lot like the mist manipulation Hecate does, doesn't it? But I hear you thinking, the mist hides the weird mythological stuff from mortals. So why doesn't it hide the magic of the wizarding world? Well, as it turns out, the mist is in fact being controlled by Hecate and her children. It is their job to hide the mythological from the mortals. So I guess it doesn't hide the wizarding world because they are Hecate's children. They are supposed to be doing that themselves, which is exactly what's happening. So the last question I have is this: do they know? Do the demigods and the magicians know that the wizarding world exists, and vice versa? But that is a question I'm going to leave you with. You tell me, do demigods know the wizarding world is a thing? Does the Per Ankh? Does the wizarding world know about them? Do they ever interact? Let me know down below. So does that mean that these scenes are actually possible? Well, not really. Because unfortunately, the timelines don't quite work out. You may or may not know this, but the Harry Potter series takes place between 1991 and 1998. The Percy Jackson series, on the other hand, takes place between 2006 and 2011. So, sorry, but this isn't gonna happen. They could meet though. It's just that they're not gonna be quite the same age. And Percy and Annabeth are not gonna be able to go to Hogwarts, because they're not descended from Hecate. So they don't have the magical gene. They could see it and enter it, but they won't be studying there. Llewellyn Blackstone, however, most definitely attends Ilvermorny. Phew! That was a blast to do. So I hope you enjoyed it, people. Time for the YouTube thing. Comment, like, subscribe, share, and don't forget to ring that bell. Also, Twitter and Goodreads. Go follow. I like that. That's it. Thanks for watching.